Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Shauna Summer. And I'm so happy that you are here. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. And I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, me too. And I want to introduce you to the audience just a second. You are a certified success coach and the owner and founder of Grit Girl LLC. Your mission is to empower the next generation to conquer adversity and embrace authenticity, drawing from diverse experience in nonprofits, government, and business. You combine your professional expertise and life experiences to help students and young adults unleash their inner strength. This is interesting. Tell us, please, what inspired you to do exactly what you're doing?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, just going through a lifetime of adversity myself. I grew up in a fairly dysfunctional home. My father was an alcoholic, and I grew up in a small community. Um, and because of that, I learned at a very early age how to make things look really pretty from the outside when inside there was actually a lot of turmoil going on. And as a result of that, I really became a very shy little girl, and I've always had weight problems my entire life. And so I never really quite fit in. And in my community where I grew up, there's a predominant religious base. And at the time, the community probably was around 30,000 people. So it was one of those places where, everybody bumped into one another and you would always run into someone that you knew. And now it's a lot bigger and much more diverse now. But back then, it was really hard to kind of escape criticisms and judgment, um, if you were facing that, somewhere within your life. And so for me, that was, really all throughout school. So I kind of just learned how to, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, hide in plain sight. And so I never ever want to see someone do that again. I never want to see, you know, a young adult or a teenager or a youth hide behind a facade of, judgment or who they have been conditioned to believe that they are, because I truly believe that God created us all to be unbelievably powerful and unique in our own selves. And so, I'm really on a mission to encourage them to step out and do that.
Wow, I love what you do and thank you for sharing. Now I have an image of what you do and what inspired you to, you are on the mission, you said this, to empower the next generation to conquer adversity. And this is how you do it. So you are the founder of Grit Girl LLC. And how do you integrate your diverse experiences from nonprofits, government, and business into your coaching strategies for students and young adults?
Oh, that's a great question. So, I've had this unique privilege to work in so many different arenas throughout my life, literally everything from nonprofit all the way up to, federal government. And because of that, I've really learned a lot of different success strategies. And so, some people might ask, well, how does that relate to, having confidence or personal development? Well, I'll tell you specifically for students, I really have a firm belief that if someone can do something to help them feel confident, regardless of whether it's getting a good grade on a paper they've turned in or, winning some sort of a competition, it really is irrelevant. It's having the mental toughness to push through not only learning a new task or pushing yourself to a greater level, but also being able to work through the obstacles that life is throwing in your way while you're doing that. And so I take that professional experience that I learned throughout my corporate career and I break it down into very tangible and tactical steps for students to really understand how they can take situations and instead of allowing emotions to take over, they can recognize opportunities that exist within those obstacles and they can, take take the risk of, branching out and exploring what they're capable of so that they can build their confidence.
Yes, I understand. So turning adversity into opportunity, or being or becoming aware of that, because we learn from Napoleon Hill as well that in every adversity is the seed, or greater benefit, equivalent benefit. I cannot I cannot repeat this quote exactly, but this is what it's about. And I love that you teach young adults as well, and students, because it begins there, and yeah, about the conditioning as well. So I have another question, maybe. Yeah, in your work with young adults, what are the most common obstacles they face in embracing their authentic selves, and how do you guide them to overcome these challenges?
You know, I don't think that, it's any secret that just the landscape of our world today is challenging. There are a lot of things that, even I didn't have to go through as a child. And I have all of my kids. I have 7 kids between me and my husband. It's a second marriage. So he has 3 and I have 4. 2 of them are adopted. They were my sister's children. And then I have 2 of my own biological children. But all of them happen to be in the age ranges of anywhere from 15 to 27. And so watching them having to navigate the world as it is today, I think, you know, social media has played an absolutely incredibly new dynamic in what kids are facing. And so not only, are they dealing with the world that all of us in the older generations had to deal with, and a lot of the things that have come with where our world is at right now, but also they have like the criticisms and the comparison and all of the things that happen when you give into looking at what's going on in everybody else's lives. And I think they're faced with that on a daily basis. And then, of course, there's just that age group trying to figure out who you are, what your purpose is, what you're good at, what your value is, and that can get really muddied by all of the noise that's constantly going on around you. And so my goal is to create the mental toughness necessary to break through that noise so that they can really be in alignment with not only who God created them to be, and I can show them how to find that, but also just in alignment with who they desire to be in this world and what their goals are and what they want to accomplish, and learning more about themselves versus trying to play into maybe a narrative of what they've been conditioned to believe about themselves or what they see going on around them.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. It's focusing on who they are, and not focusing on the outside world, which is so noisy. Of course, thank you for sharing. And I have another question. As you are a coach, do you have coaches and mentors for yourself? And who was the best coach you ever had?
Oh, that's an amazing question. So, I do have coaches. I believe that, every great leader needs a leader to be, led greatly by. Um, and so I have been extremely privileged and fortunate, not only just with the coaches that I've had, which I actually have an amazing mentor right now. Her name is Summer Day, and she's just an amazing friend and mentor. Um, However, I also have had this amazing opportunity throughout my life to be surrounded by, and a lot of this is because I chose to do it. I've always chosen to place myself around people that have challenged me, not criticize me, but challenge me to be, just a little bit better every single day. And so they affirm and they believe in, but they also, see areas where maybe I could tweak or improve. And so I've always been able to just take the best in any situation. So I think, that's part of what I teach the, young people to do, is to realize that even though, like, maybe they have a teacher, or maybe they have, even a family member, or um maybe they're, working and they have a boss or a coworker that they don't particularly um resonate with. I truly believe that there is an opportunity to learn from everyone that we're surrounded by and every situation that we're in. And so I can't say that I've ever had a bad mentor in my life. I've just chosen to really see what areas I can learn from them. But as of right now, yeah, Summer Day has been an incredible mentor and coach for me, to help guide and allow me to learn how to utilize my voice. And that's certainly what I want to do for the younger generation.
Oh, I love that what you said about example, to have an example, and that there are no bad coaches. You can always learn something, and you use the word challenge. So when someone challenges you, or let's say when someone is on a different or a higher frequency, then we can learn from the people, right?
Yeah.
It's so amazing. Thank you for sharing. I'm impressed and speechless a little bit, but I have another question. Just a second.
Thank
Let me see. Looking ahead, what are your goals for Grit Girl LLC, and how do you envision expanding your impact on the next generation in the coming years?
Oh, well, I am an idea person. Anyone that knows me intimately would say that. So I have big visions, but I also have, I'm very blessed with the ability to be very strategic and tactical in going about them. So my husband actually also he is in the space of helping encourage and support youth. So together we have a podcast called Rock Bottoms Up, and that's actually dedicated to those impacted and isolated by addiction. So he spent 30 years in addiction and is now in recovery, and I spent 30 years impacted by addiction with family members that struggled with it. So we bring a really unique dynamic, and so I think looking forward, not only do I want to encourage and support and youth with my program, which is Find Your Grit Factor, and grit actually stands for greatness really is there, or God really is there, depending on what viewpoint you want to use. Basically, what that means is that nothing you do is a failure. And I really want to challenge and encourage people to look at their lives that way, even individuals who have struggled with addiction. And so I think together, me and my husband, we have a goal to really branch out and help support youth in very dynamic ways, but also support their families. And so moving forward, I really want to see potentially retreats where we're bringing people together and actually working with them hand in hand to help them come up with strategies to effectively navigate their lives. You hear a lot of people talk about overcoming obstacles, and I really don't think that you actually overcome, because throughout my life, I've never been able to go over, under, around, or beside an obstacle. I've always had to go through it. And I think that a lot of people unfortunately give up on goals and, in a sense, give up on themselves when they do that, because they lose sight because of how difficult it is. And so, together we're on a mission to show people that you can make it literally through anything hard, not only come out better on the other side, but come out with tools that are going to help you excel in ways that you never even imagined. And so I'm really excited about where the future is taking us.
Wow, thank you so much. This was really like an extended answer. Nothing that you do is a failure. This is a sentence that I will remember, and I like to re listen to this episode, of course, because there were so many nuggets in it. Then you said about most of the people, or many people, are giving up on their goals. So I would like to ask you, what would be your advice when someone is at the point or at the edge of giving up?
Oh, don't. Because right when you're on the edge of giving up means that you are ready. You are really at the point where you are open to breaking through. And that's really, I truly believe you have to break down to break through. I think that's the only way that God can truly work through you. And I think that is such a beautiful place to be. And I know some people are probably thinking, why would you say that? but it's because it's at that point that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get through whatever you're going through. And that's the place where you can find true grit, you can find true strength. And once you're able to harness what it takes to get through that, you can duplicate that over and over again for every obstacle you encounter throughout the rest of your life, or every goal that you want to set and accomplish. And you, like I said, you will not fail because you're going to learn something about yourself. There will always be opportunities, and you're always going to have the ability to go and be just a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit smarter, and just feel a little bit more confident about yourself.
Oh my goodness, I had to write down something you said. It struck me. You have to break down to break through. And I in the it's not my mother language. So I heard you words and I had to translate it a little bit. And then I understood the message. Oh my goodness, you have to break down to break through. It's like it's a little bit like burning the boats when you make a decision and you don't look back, or you don't make a
Yeah.
plan B. You have your goal, you set your goal, and what I love about your how the way you talk is your clarity, because you know exactly what you are talking about. And I have one last question for you, because we have questions from the audience as well. So when people reach out to you after listening to this episode, do you have special offers or services for the Inspired Podcast community?
I do. I have a webinar that I offer, and you can find that or sign up for it at findyourgritfactor.com. And through that webinar, I actually go through the 7 ways to crush fear because I think fear holds us back far more than it really needs to. And again, I think it can be a tool to help you excel and move forward. And so to me, I look at things like that and I get excited. And that's what I want to teach other people to do, because when you can laugh in the face of adversity, you really don't give the enemy much to play with. And that's where you truly get to see what you're made of. And so does the world. And I think it's a phenomenal space to be in. So
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. This is so generous. And I want to repeat just real quick what you said, what GRIT stands for. It's an acronym. And you said, yeah, I know you said this before, but greatness really is there, you said, I think, or God is really is there. And I have to emphasize this because it gets directly in my heart. It touches me. Thank you so much for your message. And now is time for your last thoughts to the audience, please.
if anybody listening, if you are at that point where you just don't see opportunity, you've reached a place where, I don't really know what more there is for me. I promise you there's more. I promise you that is the point where God is just getting ready to really show you how incredible you are. And I believe that I am just a faithful servant to help that mission, because that's what I want to see. I want to see, I want to see the younger generation really just step out of fear, step out of comparison, and step into who they were uniquely and authentically designed to be.
Wow, thank you so much for our interview, and see you in the next episode.